to Los Vikingos TV, and today I'm going to talk about the Girona versus Real Madrid game. And Girona came to the game in 17th place. I think they hadn't won in 7 away games, and they got a result today at Real Madrid. Whether it was lucky or they just outplayed us, which I didn't think they did, is you know, I mean, it's I guess it's up to opinion. But I thought Real Madrid, they really had the game under control until the PK, and then it just all went to crap. But I'm going to touch on a few things before I even get there. So initially, I liked the lineup Solari put out. I thought it was good. He rested a lot of people. He let Vasquez play, which is nice because he's been in good form this year. He let Asensio play, which was nice. I wish Benzema would have been on the bench because Benzema looked really tired. He didn't want to run. Not that he didn't want to run. He just couldn't run. He was tired. He's played, I believe it was 17 games in a row, and he's played 39 of 41 games this year. So Karim Benzema needs a break, and they brought in Mariano, and Mariano's a good sub. I mean, he's a good striker. He should be playing. So in their last 11 games, Madrid was 9-1-1, and Girona in their last 3 games had allowed 11 goals. So this could have been a game where Madrid lit it up. Madrid's press looked really good, especially Asensio and Vasquez both look hungry. Asensio was really dangerous on the left with his crosses and his runs, and they kept giving them ball. Odriozola is constantly running at the back line, and he's got great pace. Defensively, there's much more to be desired, but offensively, he brings a lot to the team. And teams probably when he starts probably look to exploit that side, as we saw in the second goal, which they did do. Ramos was good until the penalty, and I thought I thought he was pretty calm for a long time, and this was a lot of games in a row. I thought Toni Kroos was the best player on Madrid today. The way he switches play is just amazing, and he's great at it. His set pieces were really good as well. And he had the assist to Casemiro, which had a beautiful header. The team play was great in the first half. They really mixed well together. I thought Real Madrid really had the game in the bag going into halftime, and I thought that was the most important thing, especially Marcelo, who really looked good for the first time since Lopetegui lost his job. Under Lopetegui, Marcelo was in the best form he had ever been in under his career. It looked like Lopetegui used him to perfection, especially with Isco on that left. But he looked good. He looked hungry for the first time in a while. And, for Madrid to go deep in the Champions League, they're going to need Marcelo to look, good. And, I don't really have any complaints about the first half. And I didn't think there was much to talk about in the first half because I thought Madrid really, they had the game under control. They played the game the way Real Madrid should. So really where the turning point happened was right when the second half started. Girona brought on 2 subs, and Lozano was huge. He was a great guy to add to the mix for them. He was great offensively. He tracked back. He drew fouls. He did what he got brought on to do, and I remember him from the first game. He kind of did some damage to us then as well. Vinicius came on in the 57th minute for Vasquez. I thought Vasquez had a good game. He was solid. He was typical Vasquez. His work rate was well, helped out defensively, drove into the box, tried to get crosses into the box. As Managing Madrid had said, if anyone had heard, they said that he's on pace to break the record for most minutes played in a season in Real Madrid history. And this is even more than peak Ronaldo, who is a physical specimen. I mean, probably the most well-tuned athlete in the world. I mean, that guy's 33, and he's got a body of a 23-year-old. So that's really concerning. So Mariano needs to eat up more minutes. That's essential to keep Benzema in his form, because if Benzema gets tired, he's not going to be fresh. And we need him fresh for not only these 2 Barcelona games and the Ajax game, but, if we get past Ajax in the Champions League, then we're going to need him beyond that. And if we're going to contend in the league and win the Copa del Rey potentially, we're going to need Benzema. He's our best striker. Mariano's good, but he's no Karim Benzema. And like I said, Benzema played 17 games in a row to today's game. Mariano was injured, and that was the reason why. But now I don't know why Mariano didn't start this game. I really couldn't fathom why he didn't play. Or, well, he played, but he didn't start. And Benzema played the entire 90, which again is concerning. The last game Benzema did not play was CSK at Moscow, which was on December 12th. Something I wanted to note, though, was Marcelo, Asensio, and Bale are kind of taking the game by the scruff of the neck, and that's really important for them because, you want to see those guys get pushed. Those are the guys who are they're 3 of the most talented guys on the team, apart from Isco. So, you want those guys to be pushed, you want those guys to be fresh, you want those guys to know that their jobs aren't safe so that they have to press. Because, there are some games where it's not like they're non existent, but, they tend to come in and out of games, and, you can't really have that when you're playing at the top level. So the Madrid kind of lost the game in the 58th minute. So Courtois made the save, the initial save, and then there's a rebound, and the guy, it's literally a sitter. Yeah, there's guys in the net, but if he would have just looked up, he sends it and just shot it in the net somewhere where someone was not. He just sent the ball way over the bar, sent it into orbit, and that was like, whoo, man, that one was close. That's how I felt at the time, and that was one of the most concerning parts because, in my opinion, that's where Madrid lost control of the game, was that 58th minute. So Stuani then, a few minutes later, he ends up hitting the post. The ball comes off the post, and a Girona player shoots it right into Ramos' arm. Ramos was just trying to block the shot. It was incidental. It was not on purpose. Unfortunately, Varane probably would have blocked the shot because Varane was behind him. Stiani then steps up, takes the PK, hits it. What a surprise. The guy is a machine this year. The guy could probably be playing for a bigger club. I know he's flopped at other places, but, he really is a potential, he's not, that guy's got a lot of skill. Barcelona was looking at him in the winter transfer window. Instead they brought in Kevin Prince Boateng, which was good for La Liga because, Girona gets to keep their best player. And then after Ramos gave up the PK, he looked to get a PK, and I'm sure he does that and he's done it a lot more this year than he did in the past. There was a header that he could have got to. He flopped in the box trying to win a PK, and was it a foul? Potentially. I don't actually think it was, but, I thought he flopped just looking for a PK, which is not the smart thing to do. And, then he complains, and, he didn't really make up. Usually Ramos makes up for his mistakes. This game was not that kind of game for him, unfortunately. The back line started to miscommunicate, and they started to unfold. And then again, Courtois needs to make a save on it was a great shot by Lozano, who was very dangerous. Porto got moved to the right. Lozano played on the left, which was nice for him because he just got in behind Odriozola. I'm sure Girona expected Carvajal to play before the lineups were put out, so that's why Lozano didn't start. But Lozano had that great curler. Courtois made the save. It wasn't a great save. But Marcelo wasn't covering Porto, and that it was partly Marcelo's fault, partly Courtois' fault. Courtois should have done a better job with his rebound control, sending it more wide, as you saw the Girona goalie do in that one save later in the game, and he pushed it off to the side where Bale couldn't get to it. And Courtois knows better. He won the Golden Gloves at the freaking World Cup. This guy needs to know better. And then Marcelo doesn't cover Porto. He just kind of leaves, and then after he realizes it's too late. That's just the way Marcelo's been this year, unfortunately. And Madrid had a few more chances. Like I said, the one that got saved, that Bale couldn't get to the rebound, but nothing really came up from it. Something that I thought was an issue was I don't know why he took off Ceballos and for Mariano. I thought it was a weird move because the game was still 1-1. So that only left us with two midfielders, and one of them being Toni Kroos, who doesn't really track back very often. And he went with four attackers instead of three, which again I thought was kind of weird. And I'm not saying this led to the goal, but it didn't help because Odriozola was way up the pitch the entire half, and they exploited that side, and that's how Lozano got that chance. And I don't have much more to say on the game other than I think Sergio Ramos, because he got a double yellow, which means he's definitely suspended for the Levante game, which is next weekend. But I think he's also suspended for the Barcelona game because I read somewhere that this was before the game that he had an accumulation of yellows. So pretty much that accumulation of yellow, the first yellow, got him suspended for the Vellante match, and then the bite kick, which was obviously incidental. I'm sure he's going to try to appeal it and be like, look, I didn't even kick him in the face, and I'm sure the league won't go for it, but it's worth an appeal. But Real Madrid they have some pool, so they might be able to get rid of it. But you never know. I'm sure Barcelona is licking their chops, being like, oh man, Sergio Ramos, because now we're 9 points back in the league when we could have been 6 going into Barcelona in 2 weeks. And Barcelona almost lost against Real Valladolid, but they didn't. So it's really unfortunate that Ramos went down. Nacho's a great backup, though. He could start probably on, I'd probably say, 99% of the teams in Europe, because I'd probably say one of the only teams he wouldn't start for would probably be Barcelona, Man City. Um, I think he's better than Nicolas Sula, who's been playing at Bayern a lot. He wouldn't start at Juventus. Like, there's only a handful of teams where he wouldn't play. So at least we have a capable backup who will be there. Unfortunately, we need to make sure Jesus Vallejo is healthy so that he can be the backup center back on the bench. And honestly, this game probably doesn't help Marcelo. He might catch himself on the bench again for Reguilon because he didn't lose us the game, but I thought it was a Courtois mistake mixed with a Marcelo mistake. But Marcelo's going to be the one to take the brunt of it. But thank you guys for listening, and I just wanted to say, if you guys have any questions, you guys can put it in the comment section, and I will try to answer them. And if you liked what you hear, please subscribe. Also, I may start writing for Managing Madrid, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. Thank you guys for listening, and Hala Madrid.